Welcome to Parenting Neurodivergence, your guide to raising a successful ADHD, Autistic, OCD, or OCPD affected teen. I'm Sarah Morales, a licensed therapist with a decade of experience supporting neurodivergent young people and their families across all levels of care. I've worked with more than 500 teens and parents to reduce unhelpful behaviors, increase openness to change, and move toward independent adulthood in ways that honor each family's needs and values. I draw on evidence-based gold standard approaches from therapy, including DBT, RO-DBT, CBT, and ACT, lots of therapy acronyms, to help parents manage emotions at home, strengthen emotion regulation skills, improve on more effective communication, and support openness and flexibility in both teens and caregivers. If you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious and don't know where to begin, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so honored to support you as you adopt a new approach to helping your teen grow. With guidance and practice, you can learn effective strategies that shift your home culture towards greater safety and independence, so both you and your teen can feel more confident about the future. Why won't my teen take initiative? Why do they not start tasks, not follow through, not take responsibility, not do things unless you're constantly reminding them? And underneath that frustration is a deeper fear. How will they ever function as an adult if they can't even get started? I was talking to a parent recently who said, if I don't remind him, nothing gets done. Not homework, not chores, not basic hygiene. I feel like I'm managing a toddler in a teenager's body. And then she paused and said something really important. I don't want to nag him anymore, but if I stop, everything falls apart. That right there is the trap most parents get stuck in. You're either constantly prompting, reminding, or pushing, or stepping back completely and watching everything collapse, and neither feels sustainable. Let's name that fear. You're worried your teen lacks motivation, doesn't care, won't develop independence, and you're asking yourself, are we failing them? Are we enabling them? Is this just who they're going to be? And maybe in your most honest moments, you've thought, why can't they just take initiative like other kids? Let's challenge that directly. Your teen is not refusing to take initiative. They're struggling with initiation capacity. And those are not the same thing. Initiation is not about motivation. It's about executive functioning, emotional regulation, tolerance of discomfort, and clarity on the steps. So when a neurodivergent teen doesn't start, it's usually because the brain doesn't know where to begin. Even if the task seems simple to you, the autism or ADHD brain may experience it as unclear, overwhelming, or too many steps. The emotional cost of it might feel too high. Starting a task might mean risking failure, imperfection, and possible rejection from others. It might mean facing discomfort and triggering emotions of shame. The brain says, this is a risk, and I need to avoid this risk at all costs. The nervous system is already overloaded. If your teen, especially if they have autism or OCD, is already fearful and anxious, they're overthinking and ruminating, dysregulated, and they feel exhausted all the time. There's no capacity left for task initiation. They've learned that starting equals pressure. If every time they start something new, they get corrected, shut down, monitored, evaluated negatively on their performance, their brain associates initiation with threat of failure. So here's the shift. Initiation is not built through pressure. It is built through safety, clarity, and success. Let's talk about verbal reminders, because this is where most parents get stuck. You remind because you care, you're trying to help, you don't want things to fall apart. But here's what happens on your teen side. Each verbal reminder feels like added pressure, urgency, and I'm failing or I'm behind again. So instead of helping them start, it actually makes starting harder. And over time, your teen begins to only rely on your verbal reminder to initiate things. That's when you hear yourself saying, if I don't say anything, nothing happens. So if reminders don't build initiative, what does? This is where we shift from external control to internal capacity. Let's talk about what actually builds initiative. First, emotional safety around starting builds initiative. Your teen has to feel safe enough to try. That means no immediate correction or negative feedback, no external pressure or added overwhelm, and no pressure to be perfect. You might say things like, starting this goal, even if we don't finish it or do it perfectly, is all we need to do here, is just start. 2, make the first step obvious and tiny. Initiation fails when the first step is unclear or feels too big. Instead of vague statements like do your homework, you say, okay, open your laptop. All right, let's set a timer. Let's do the first question together. That's it. You're training the brain to learn that starting is doable. Lower the activation energy. Think of initiation like pushing a heavy object. Right now, your teen's brain experiences tasks as too heavy to move. Your job is to reduce the weight. That might look like sitting down with them for a few minutes, doing the first step together, removing distractions, taking breaks, and setting small goals. Create a predictable starting point. Initiation improves when the brain knows this is when and how I start. So instead of random expectations, you create consistent timelines, daily structure, task lists. Keep the expectations small and concrete. Shift from monitoring to supporting. Instead of hovering or checking constantly, you position yourself as a partner. Say things like, want me to sit down with you while you get started? Should we set a timer together for this first task? Do you want me to leave you alone and check back in with you in 15 minutes to see if you need help? Let's do this for 10 minutes together and then take a break. This reduces isolation, overwhelm, and avoidance. I worked with a teen who would not start anything independently. Parents were reminding constantly, escalating consequences, and just getting frustrated. We made 3 important changes. First, we defined a clear starting point with a consistent routine of events. We reduced tasks to micro steps. And a parent sat nearby, not hovering, just present, and started checking in every 15 minutes if the teen needed help. Within weeks, the teen began taking initiative on small tasks like doing the dishes, doing their laundry, starting homework. The amount of reminders decreased. Their confidence increased. Not because we pushed harder, but because we made the starting point feel safer and easier. Now again, I want to speak to that fear. If I help too much, won't they become dependent? Here's the truth. Support does not create dependence. Overwhelm does. We are scaffolding here. We are starting with more support and slowly removing that support over time as your teen learns to do it on their own. When your teen experiences repeated failure, they stop trying. And when they experience supported success, they build independence. This is why initiation ties directly into the 4 principles. Emotion regulation reduces overwhelm. Openness allows for feedback. Flexibility adapts to challenges. And relationships create safety to try. Without these, initiation will always struggle. I want you to pause and reflect on this. Your teen is not sitting there thinking, I don't feel like doing this. They're thinking, I don't know how to start, and it feels too hard. And that's a completely different problem to solve. So here's what I want you to try this week. Replace do this with start here within this time frame. Always define the first step. Sit with your teen for one task, especially in the beginning. No pressure, no correction, just presence. Reduce reminders by 25%. Notice that sense of urgency. Notice when you want to remind, but pause and ask, how can I make this starting point easier? Point to a task list or a structure. Or ask an open-ended question. How did we start the last time? Do you remember? Celebrate starting, not just finishing. Because when your teen learns, I can start things, everything changes. You'll begin to see more initiative, more confidence, more independence, not because they were forced, but because they built the capacity. If this episode resonated with you, share it with another parent. But because they built the capacity. Celebrate starting, not just finishing. Because when your teen learns, I can start things, everything changes. You'll begin to see more initiative, more confidence, more independence, not because they were forced, but because they built the capacity. Thank you for listening to Parenting Neurodivergence, your guide to raising a successful ADHD, Autistic, OCD, or OCPD affected teen. I hope this episode gave you practical tools and encouragement as you navigate the challenges and joys of raising a neurodivergent teen. It helped you feel more confident guiding your teen on their path towards independence. To explore more resources or to discuss your family's unique situation, please visit parentsofneurodiverseteens.com and schedule a completely free phone consultation. I'd love to connect and help you begin making meaningful, lasting changes in your home and for your teen. With a little help, you truly can feel a better sense of ease when communicating with your neurodivergent teen and seeing real changes in behavior while making the transition into adulthood. I'm Sarah Morales. Take care, and until next time.